most memorable event was when Swami selected me for Adi Shankaracharya drama in our 11th standard. The dialogue was, who is your friend or a foe? So all the time wondering how can we be more, in proximity to Swami, how can we be more useful to Swami. Whatever you want to repay to Swami, we cannot repay. Because that much of love, that much of coming down to our level is something which is no other avatar has done.
And we in our limited minds, we take this opportunity to ask Swami questions and he answers them patiently. In the informal interactions, yes. Isn't it?
Yeah. This reminds me of one question that I had Swami gave me an opportunity to ask to him. It's a very informal gathering. Very few of us were there. Three of us were there, and Swami was asking, So I asked a question: how do you get rebirth? Normally, I thought might be that question. Swami might like it or not like it, but somehow something was bothering me. So I asked, what is the rebirth?
Why rebirth?
Why do you get rebirth? And how do you get rebirth? I mean, not why rebirth. Why rebirth is karma, right? Yes. But how do you get rebirth? So is there a Chitragupta? Is there Yamadharmaraja? This is what was
process.
Whole process. Is there something like that? We were sitting in the interview room, and those days bhajans used to be at 11 o'clock in the morning. Not the 9 o'clock. So after interviews, second session, sometimes Swami used to call. That day was an opportunity. And there was a jasmine smell that was coming. I think the agarbattis were there. And Swami asked, can you smell like jasmine? Yes, Swami. Swami asked another elderly gentleman, can you smell? He couldn't smell. Swami said, why he is not able to smell? Because he's got cold. Why you are able to smell? Because you don't have cold. And you are sitting in the where the wind is flowing, and there is a jasmine fragrance that is coming. So you are able to smell. Your nose has smelled. Your brain has recognized, and therefore you are able to say it is jasmine smell. Similarly, when you leave this body, vasana, it's called vasana. Vasana also in Sanskrit means smell. It also means essence. So your vasanas engulf your soul. And that will go into the pranavayu. And it will automatically go into another place, might be a womb somewhere, it might be wherever, it might be a human, it might be an animal, it might be a tree, it might be wherever it is, based on where it has to fit in. Automatically it will go. It is a law of nature, just like you are smelling. There is no Chitragupta here for you to smell. Similarly is this whole place. So you have to become vasana rahityam.
You have these gunas or you have these tendencies.
These tendencies come because of our essence of our actions. Our actions, the essence of our actions will engulf you as vasanas. But when will you become totally vasana rahityam? When will you get mukti then? The obvious question is, then is there a way out at all? The next question will be obviously that, right? So that was the question. So then how do you get out of this? Swami's answer was very, very simple. Swami said, in a very simple manner, because it was bhajan time was closing up. So Swami said, you have to move from vikarma to sukarma, from sukarma to nishkama karma, from nishkama karma to akarma. That's all was Swami's thing. And then I started going back and started reading out what are these karmas, what is this all about, and read a lot about a lot of scriptures, and we found out. At least what my realization was that yes, vikarma is simple, then sukarma is also simple. Nishkama karma is, what the Bhagavad Gita says, karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Not have anything with the fruit thereof. Leave the fruit, but still you are holding the action to yourself. Akarma is not even holding action to yourself. You are still in the nishkama karma, you are holding to action. You have a right on action. So you are still the doer here. The akarma is the stage where you are not the doer. The stage where the karta, karma, bhokta, karma, everything is him only. There is no separation, and that's a stage. It's a very internal stage.
So nothing attaches you.
Nothing will attach to
Because
that.
you are not the doer.
You are not there at all, right?
So there's no vasanas, there's
Nothing
no
will attach to
tendencies.
you. So that's what will the whole thing
Then
will
you are out of the
fall off.
cycle.
Then the Annamaya Kosham, Pranamaya Kosham anyway will go. Manomaya Kosham, Vijnanamaya will fall, Anandamaya will fall. You are yourself. That's what will happen. And that's exactly, you have to just get out of this. And for that, you have to move from Nishkama Karma to Akarma also. And that stage is the journey that we need to constantly take upon ourselves to say that He is everything. And that means that, you'll have to see Him everywhere, feel Him everywhere, feel Him in spite of yourself. I don't know how to express this. Feel Him in spite of yourself. I don't know how you can get this,
And you have to use the mind to transcend the mind.
Yeah, you have to use this instrument only to get out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
See, it is like, when you are getting into the aircraft, you use the steps only to get into the aircraft. After the steps are not required, you can throw the steps out and then it will fly out. So you have to use that spinning point between the step and the aircraft entry is what we need to move out. And that is what we need to look at this. And that comes on, I'm sure all of us will, one day Swami will help us out to move to that stage of, we are no more the steps, right? The steps should get out.
I think there are also so many occasions when Swami directly guided. I mean, there were occasions when Swami directly told us that, don't attach yourself to this body, isn't it?
Correct.
It is happening, right?
Very much. He has told many people. I had our family last interview 1999 Jan. My father merged in Swami in December 1998. After 12 days of the function, 13th or 14th day, Swami called whole family. And the whole import of that discourse was, go internal. How long you want to see Swami outside? What is there in this body? Swami is pointing like this. Why are you bothered about Swami?
What is there in this
body? There's nothing. Swami is not this body at all. Sai is much bigger. And that was the whole discourse, whole interview import. To all the children, all of us, Swami told. That was the last interview. And that was telling us, this body, don't get attached to this body. But the Sai is everywhere. Sai is everything. And unless you try to realize, internalize Swami and learn Swami, see Swami everywhere. See, I always believe, if you internalize Swami, you will see Swami everywhere, in a sense. It's like wearing those spectacles, the color glass. So internalizing Swami means many things to many people.
Swami says, Drishti, if you change, then Srishti will change.
And internalizing Swami means many things to many people. And I think each one, based on our journey, will have to make that steps inside. And that steps is what I think all of us need to make. And I am praying to Swami that, making those steps in the right direction.
One other very beautiful thing that happens when an avatar comes, when you have Divine Master, Supreme Master in our midst, is apart from they guiding us directly, indirectly, they also allow us to see personalities who are living that message.
True.
I mean, we get to see devotees who are epitomes of that message.
Very much.
And we can draw inspiration from their lives, isn't it?
Very much. And there were plenty of people whom there are already, so many are still there around. And there are plenty of people who were there with Swami, right from Ramaramam Garu, whom I know, whom I came in contact, Radhakshna Garu. Then you had our Kutum Rao sir, Chiranjeev Rao sir, Chakravarti sir. All these people are people who are living Swami. That kind of people, when we look at such kind of people, we get a lot of inspiration. And there are plenty more. I mean, a few names I have given. There are plenty more, plenty more who have, whenever we used to see them, they used to inspire us. Ratanlal Amma, the kind of love she had in the old mandir, old bungalow, we had a little more opportunity to see her in action. Afterwards, in the Trayabundan, we didn't see her in action. It was a little cut off. But there she used to, come sometimes to the safe room. The way kind of interaction she used to have with the Lord,
If you can share with us some instances that you have seen of Rama Brahmam sir, Radha Krishna sir.
Okay. So, Ramram sir, I will tell you, see, as boys we used to make some errors or the other, and it's often that, sometimes Swami used to physically, reprimand, just to correct the boys out of love. And it used to happen that boys used to be, made to stay out of the hostel, stay away. Many times it used to happen, but it was Ram Garu who used to take upon his shoulder to ensure that, Swami again talks to these boys, he will guide those students what to do, where to stand, where Swami can physically see you, and then, tell you what to pray, how to pray to the Lord. And when the right moment comes, he used to go and tell Swami, Papam.
Someone was so pained to see that one boy.
He used to treat us as his own children.
From Swami.
His own children. I mean, that kind of an affection is something which you will rarely find from somebody.
And it's a very risky thing. Yeah. You recommending, because Swami always was someone who
and
would say,
and that too, when Swami is upset with somebody, nobody recommends you. In fact, you have seen yourself. Swami is upset with a set of boys or a set of individuals. Nobody will sit around him because Swami will anyway not come there.
If God is with you, the whole world is with you.
So imagine Ram Garu taking that opportunity, taking that risk and going and telling Swami. Nobody else can do that. I mean, that kind of a sacrifice, that kind of a love for the students, and genuine interest that we become close to Swami. He used to give us many opportunities to become close to Swami. When Swami used to come to Gokulam, more of half the amount of work he used to do. He was in charge of Gokulam, he was in charge of the fields. He used to get it done, everything. But when Swami comes, tell the boys in the front, Vide chesar, Valde chesar. Like that,
push the boys.
Push the boys in the front. And that also used to make us feel sometimes guilty. Arey, we should do more work. So that was the kind of a person.
That large-hearted man.
And so much of love for Swami. Extraordinary love for Swami. I don't know how he used to know that Swami is coming. There were many times, those days, there were no cell phones, only trunk calls were there. Sometimes Swami would suddenly come. But somehow Ram Garu used to know how Swami is,
Oh, wow.
He used to somehow feel that, Swami is coming. That is something, that inner connection he had, I always saw him that way. Then Radhakrishna Garu, there's nothing to mention about him. He's such the softest person I have ever seen.
Radhakrishna sir was the one who was Swami's servitor and was driving Swami's car for decades.
Yes. And serving Swami inside.
Yes.
There is no words, and extraordinary soul. And so soft, and he had that kind of a love for everybody. Anybody, be it any devotee, any student, anybody, he'll encourage you, he'll tell you what to do, how to be with Swami, and push you in the right places. The kind of love he had, the kind of personality he was, his presence is to make a lot of difference. I cannot explain this. That's the kind of person he was, very, very loving person. And of course, about Chiranjeev Rao sir, Kutum Rao sir.
You can share something about Kutum Rao sir. We don't know much about him.
Yeah, he happens to be my uncle. And as everybody knows, he was a very serious person. Even to us, he was a very serious person. Not very often he will be, in a smiling mood. But if he's in a very good smiling mood, you will laugh your heart out. He's a very jovial person too. His love for Swami was something very extraordinary. I once asked him, how do you, because Swami, I knew that, Swami used to many times be, scold him, because he being in a position taking care of ashram. There will be many things that, might not be in what Swami wanted standard. So Swami used to reprimand him often. So one day I asked him, I took the courage to ask him. I happened to be in his room, so I asked him, can I ask you something? He said, AMT. So I said, every day Swami reprimands you, or says something or the other, and how do you take it? the answer that he gave me stunned me a lot. He told me, look, I am a human being. I will be doing many errors, many papams, knowingly or unknowingly. Being in this position also I will do. Without this position also, as a human being, we will do many errors. The very biggest papam is to think that we are separate from the Lord itself is a papam.
Oh, wow.
We will be doing that error also, that we are separate and we are doing ourselves. I am the karta. Sometimes I will get that kind of a thing. My sin has to be washed away every day. I feel if Swami scolds me, my sin that day is washed away. Otherwise, it will be with me again.
Wow.
So that is the kind of, it opened my eyes. We need to always pray to Swami. Swami, please wash away my sins. The very fact that we are thinking that we are separate from Swami, we are separate from the Lord itself, is a sin by itself. And that is the reason, that's the cause of all the bondage. The Ashtavakra Samhita also says the cause of bondage is the self-identification. If you are not self-identified, if you live as a self-realized soul, you do not have any more pain. You do not have any papam itself. Paropakara punyaya papaya parapidanam. Swami also many times explained the word para is other than Atma. So the moment you think you are not the Atma, you are actually, you are doing sin. You are parapidanam you are doing. You are creating trouble for yourself. So that is the kind of sin that all of us, day in and day out, from I think for generations we are committing. We need to get out of this. And this answer from Kutum Rao sir was an eye-opener. I want to tell you about one prayer, which I always used to ask my father, what should be my prayer to the Lord? What do we pray? We should not ask for this, that. Many people tell us this, right? So what should we pray? How should we pray? And he told me a small little slokam which our ancients chant. Vina dainyena jivitam anayasa maranam dehante tavasayujyam dehi me kripanide. This is the shlokam that our ancients have started. So if you look at the literal meaning, it says that Vina dainyena jivitam, a life which is not dependent on anybody. Correct. That is Vina dainyena.
Everybody wants that.
Want that. So we don't want to be dependent on anybody. Yes. Vina dainyena jivitam. Anayasam, a death which is without even ayasam, without even struggling for breath.
Death.
Effortless
pain-free Passover.
Death. Then third one is Dehante tavasayujam, to merge in you after that I leave this body. Dehi me kripanide. This is what is the meaning. But as I chanted this, prayed this regularly, I pray this regularly from the time I got it from my father. So more and more deep insights are coming because of the way Swami has moved me from to go after this Ashtavakra drama. You look at the first line, Vina dainyena jita. When will you have dependency on others? When there is a duality. Whenever there is a duality, you have a dependency. You are separate, there is somebody else and there is dependency. The day that duality goes away, you will become Vina dainyena. So that line took a different connotation to me. So you have to live a life of Jivan Mukta is what we should live. We should pray for Jivan Mukta, to be a Jivan Mukta, to be able to see yourself everywhere and you are yourself. Is the life that you are asking for actually. Vina dainyena jivitam.
So a life of non-duality.
Non-duality is what actually we are asking for there.
Wow.
And anayasa maranam. What is the maranam? Maranam of ego. Ego vanishes the moment the self goes away. The moment that sense of false identification goes away, maranam will anyway come. Anayasa maranam will come. And that is what is your second line. And dehante tavasayujam, a stage where there are no vasanas for you, then only you will get sayujam. When you are in a akarma state is what you are asking for. Give me the state of akarma is what you are asking in the third state. Please lead me to a state of immortality.
There is the death of the ego and dehanti, completely losing body consciousness.
And akarma, yes. with deham only do karma, right?
You don't consider yourself as the doer.
And sayujam when you will get, when you are totally merge into that whole thing. When you don't have that karma bindings, that's as I was saying, vasana should not be there. That experience of Swami, where Swami gave vasana lekunda undali, then everything will drop off. That will come when you are in akarma stage. So the third line is asking for, Lord, give me the stage of akarma. So first line is actually saying, take me to non-duality, a life of self-realized souls. Second line is saying that, give me a stage where, my ego just vanishes just like that. My ego should not trouble me. Ego should go away just like that.
Death of the ego.
Ego should go. And third stage is the stage where you are asking for the vasanas also to drop off. And that is what is the prayer that this is what I am understanding of the prayer as I'm every day chanting it. Lord, this prayer is not at a physical level at all now anymore. It is a prayer which, I feel, will emancipate you. That's the reason why our ancients have actually prayed this. This is my thought now. So that, we need to move to that stage somewhere.
I think that's what we saw also in many of these great servitors, the way Professor Kasturi merged in Bhagawan's Lotus Feet,
No doubt.
The way Sai Gita merged at Bhagawan's Lotus Feet, they had that kind of
Subhamma. I mean, so many of them.
Yes. They had that kind of
Sayujam.
Sayujam.
At the end of the day, what we need is Sayujam, not,
Yeah, I mean, really beautiful. I know there are many more stories you have, and definitely we want to listen to you more. If you don't mind, can you share with us some of those interesting episodes that happened in Vrindavan? Because we didn't really touch upon so much of Vrindavan. The way Bhagawan used to play with the students at that point in time. As you said, when you began that journey, it was that journey of being close to Swami.
Correct.
But once you took those steps, he was constantly guiding you, he was constantly encouraging you. And you saw that in the whole Vrindavan environment. You saw that with the way Swami was interacting with the animals there, with the deer there, with the peacock there, with the birds there, as well as the amount of time that he was giving to each one. So if you can pick up some moments, the moments with Bhagawan in the safe room, or any of those moments, that will help us to relive that kind of episodes and connect with Swami.
So I just wanted to mention a few words about the environment of Vrindavan those days. Vrindavan, when I joined in 1977, the hostel had come up, and then that was very new, and the college also was very new building, and the Vrindavan was an old bungalow. Old bungalow had a veranda on the outside, downstairs also a veranda, upstairs also a veranda, and you had Swami's bedroom, one side window facing the outside road, and the other side is to face towards where the cage and animals were there. There's also a middle room, and then one more room, and then Swami is to step down, get into the big veranda was there, big corridor was there. There used to be a grill window, which we had some curtains. Swami sometimes often opened the curtains. The life that we had was right from morning, even as early as 4:30 in the morning. We will get up early morning, have a bath, go there and stand there. That's it. Stand near the bedroom window, and you can see many times Swami, out of his love, he used to come, open the window, and you can see Swami early morning. That's a darshan which you can never forget, because the whole nature there. Vrindavan had lots of trees and lots of these animals. Those days the flyover was not there. It was very calm. The whole atmosphere was
outskirts of
very
the city.
Outskirts, far away from city. Once in a while a train is to go, and that's a time where you had, when Swami used to open that window in the mornings. It's just so beautiful, and I cannot explain to you.
Another sunrise.
It's so beautiful, so very beautiful, so very nice. And you all our, the joy is extraordinary. And after a few minutes, Swami will open the other window and then come back again. So you will run from one window to the other window, and suddenly we will see Swami opening the other side, and we'll all run. Swami will say, "Horses, horses." Then Swami used to go for his breakfast. Sometimes he used to tell us, "You also go for breakfast." So those were the days, very beautiful days, very, very. And so when Swami used to come down, we used to there's a window, and we used to pine to be near the window, because we used to be there's a 1.1 window. As soon as Swami comes down, as he opens the door, we should be the first fellows there. And Swami, we used to put our hands, Swami sometimes touch the hands and go.
Wow.
Or sometimes give letters, or whatever is possible. So that was the thing. And then, if possible, run into the safe room once the Swami darshan is over. Run into the safe room. Elders used to be around Swami, and Swami used to, very informally chat. And those days were really beautiful. I mean, it was more like, you had Swami for yourself. Yes. That was the feeling. And so this was a feeling for every student. It is not one, two, three. Everybody felt Swami, we had Swami for ourselves. That was the kind of...
It's like the Gopikas.
Like the Gopikas felt, one Krishna for every Gopi. It was that kind of... And Swami had an individual relationship with every boy. Swami had something to do with every boy. Some either is happy with him, he's playing with him, or he's upset with him. He has got his own ways of doing things. And most often we used to avoid going to the college because, we can get more time with Swami. So we used to try to be around Swami, and we used to hide from some of these lecturers so that we can avoid college. Those were the days which we could do, because that university was not there. Yeah. So the discipline of, every day going, and that was not there. It was more of a art, science, commerce college. Day scholars were also there. So we had a chance to, an opportunity to also be out of, and in fact, the MBA was called Mass Bunking Association. So we had Brindavan, we had another connotation, and some of us were members of that, secretaries of it. So like that, we were having ranks
as much time
as possible here. So that's what we were doing. And Swami used to take his own time after the interviews. That interview room door opening was a beautiful thing. And we used to keep a lot of good pots around. A lot of work we used to do gardening. And Swami used to appreciate that work. And that was a very nice thing, and very joyful that Swami has liked what you have put, planted, flower. These were very great joys. And the kind of gestures that Swami used to do, like this, these kind of, some of the photographs, these are very, very, very nice, very playful Swami. We saw Swami in a very playful manner. That was Brindavan. Parthi, it was a little more, official, little more cut off, little more, very organized way of doing things. So that is Brindavan life that is the type of life that we had in the first 5 years. That is very, very beautiful. Swami used to come to hostel. I can give you one instance. My 11th standard, I was in a room which is the first room as Swami turns, okay? And as you enter the hostel, you turn, and then you have to go to the dining hall. There is the dining hall there, right? So that was the first room, and my cupboard was just bang opposite the door. So it happened that one day, Swami came suddenly, and he came into the room, and he was talking to Rupak Chintakoti was our room leader. So, and he used to go upstairs, he used to be very close to Swami. So Swami came to the room, so everybody was there, Borden sir, everybody was there, and we are also standing there. And I had completed my bath, but fortunately I had put a new towel. I removed the towel for washing, I put it for washing, I put a new towel on the my chair. Swami came, he dragged the chair, sat down, and used the towel. I still have preserved the towel. That's a wonderful memory. You can't imagine Bhagawan using your towel, right?
Wow. I mean,
that is the kind of, you can't think of it also. How can Bhagawan come and drag your chair that you normally sit down? Drag your chair, sit down, and he was talking, and then he used that thing. So that was, luckily I had put a fresh towel. So that is...
Okay, everything is destined.
Destined. So, but that was a beautiful chance. So that kind of informal thing. And I'll tell you about this hostel. Once I became a lecturer, I was in Department of Mathematics, myself and Subramaniam sir, we were the two lecturers. We were asked to start a computer lab to teach the third year MSc, BSc Maths boys, and some other boys too. Those days computers were, I'm talking about 1988 type. So we had Apple system, we had the hard disk outside. we used to do in DOS programming and Pascal, a little bit of C, but not C++ and all that was not there. So that covers the atmosphere and scenario, and they wanted to start. And it happened that because there was no generator in the college, and computer those days used to get very hot. Nowadays the systems have improved quite a bit. The processing speed also has increased, and also the technology has improved, so it doesn't heat up so much. Those days it used to heat up a lot. So they wanted to have a generator all the time. So only hostel was the only choice. So Swami selected that room. So A8 was selected for that. So we redid it as a computer lab, got all that thing done, with the flooring change, what all needs to be done, put the tables and everything. And we waited for Swami, and we had the great fortune of informing Swami. Swami said, I'll come and inaugurate. That was a great thing that Swami said, I'll come. So we waited for Swami and Swami. So we had a chance to write a program for Swami. We wrote a welcome song for Swami. Some of the third BSc boys and myself, Subramanian sir, all of us sat together, made a program. It was working in past. It was working well. So we checked it hundreds of times. That it is
So what was the program? What was it?
Song, welcome song to Swami. Very simple song. Those days, programming itself was, we were also not extraordinary. Programming was difficult in DOS, and we were doing very simple Pascal programming. Simple, So ting ting ting, it'll go. Even the speakers were not very good. External speakers were not there. It was inbuilt speaker only. So this is what was there. So there was a small speaker. So that was not the internal speaker. So that was there. Then Swami came, and we were all around. All the boys were around. I told the boys who had made the program to do it. Somehow when Swami came in, empty, he said. So I had to go in the front. And I told Swami, and press the enter button. Swami smiled like this. There was a flower on the top of the monitor, all that was there. And Swami, he smiled at all of us, and very powerfully, he pressed the enter. Talk. Nothing came. Nothing happened. All of us are shocked.
Program froze.
God knows what happened. And all of us are fretting and fuming, and we tried it, hundreds of each other looking at each other. Hey, what to do now? What should we do? Then Swami smiled. Once more he pressed. And it came. Then Swami is telling, Nene apan ra.
I only stopped it.
I stopped it ra.
Wow.
Very smilingly went. So it was such a beautiful incident.
Just to give you chills and thrills.
He can make the CPU stop. He can do whatever he wants.
Amazing.
Amazing experiences.
Wow. And I think, if you look at even the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, the way the department has progressed, and the amount of attention that Swami has given to this department.
So much attention. When in '93, when the DMAC started, Department of Maths and Computer Science, I was transferred from Vrindavan to here, and we had the good fortune of working with some of the stalwarts and learning computer science from people like David Grease, who used to come to Swami. David Grease is a professor emeritus of computer science in Cornell University. Normally, you can't get such people. He came and he used to teach us computer science. We had somebody from AT&T Labs coming and teaching us networking. And none of us were computer experts, we were mathematicians. And these big stalwarts came and taught us the basics of computer science, and made us grow quite fast. And to an extent that, we could, as a department, we could run successfully MTech Computer Science. Today, MTech Computer Science department is one of the most valued departments in that area across the country. Be it in the data science, be it in parallel processing, be it in image processing. You name it, it has leaps and bounds. Those were early days. We put up the first image processing lab, we did everything possible to really get that going. And the kind of attention Swami gave. The beauty is, Swami used to ask, Elagundi, Em Chestunaru, all that, So there was a time when I was asked to teach neural networks. And I happened to sit in the mandir, and I was reading that book. I had read it before, and understood from my senior professor what neural networks was and all that. So understood a little bit more. So, but to teach is a different ball game, right? That to MTech students, you have to teach a little more than what it is. So with whatever little bit of understanding that I have, I'm not an expert in any case. And so I started reading. I used to sit and read in Mandir also. Everywhere I used to read a lot, as much as possible, make notes, see whatever I can do to the best of my ability. So I was reading, and Swami came. I didn't observe Swami's coming. Swami came out of the interview room. I was actually seriously reading because I had a class when I go back, and I was actually struggling on a concept actually. I was not able to understand some parts of it. So I was struggling, but I was reading very carefully. I was sitting near the first pillar there. Swami came. EMT. Then I instead spontaneously gave the book. Swami saw. Brain panchese paddhati. Brain ela panchestundo alage kada idi, he asked. He said this, and that is
the way
brain works. That is how it is, no? Neural networks is that only to Swami. Then because from the photograph on the top, neural network, Swami immediately said this. Then chepko. And then he kept the book down. That's it. You won't believe it. When I went back, I was all the time thinking on this, the way brain works, the way the brain should, Well, that was a concept. But once Swami tells that words rings in your head like it's constantly like coming back to you all the time. So when I went back to the class, this was the only discussion that we had, and a lot of insights as a group we got to understand that concept. That is a very involved concept of associative memory, and that concept of Hopfield network associative memory was understood so deeply by all of us by the way Swami, just one liner, the way brain works. See, the concept is, how do you store memory, right? Normally in systems you store memory as records, right? As some places. It might be, records can be split, but they are location. But in a human brain, we don't store it record number so and so and here. We store it by association, right? Because you told something, the other thoughts are coming. So you store by association. Simple thumb rules, for example, if you want to know Rahu Kalam, the sequence of Rahu Kalam. Mother saw father wearing the turban on Tuesday. So you are, by a heuristic thing, you are able to associate everything else, right? Yes. The rules over it. So that is how associative memory works. So this concept is actually human brain working. Yes. And that is what we are actually trying to reproduce into systems, right? So this was very nicely understood. This concept became very...
once Swami said that, suddenly
started till then, otherwise, you are only reading mathematics equations and, trying to understand what this algorithm is all about. But once Swami says something, that's the deep, small things, how Swami can guide you, clear the whole air for you.
I think, and that department today is such a significant
very
part
good
of
department.
Everything that we do today.
And we had, when this Kulwant Hall was being built, MBA boys were once called. Many boys were being called. So we all prayed as Department of Mathematics. Swami should call us also. We prayed. We did bhajans in our department. We prayed a lot. And Swami graciously called as a Department of Mathematics to come to Vrindavan. Because Swami for a very long time was not here. So Swami called all of us. So we went in a bus. Swami gave, in Thrive Vrindavan, Swami called all the department people, including all lecturers, everybody. Swami gave us high tea. And Swami is personally taking care. It was such a beautiful, and Swami spoke to whole departments. That was a wonderful incident, the way Swami encourages. And the whole department energy levels went up. The kind of, personal interest that Swami takes. The energy levels suddenly go up, and some of these big professors who come, Swami used to ask them, "Apilal okay na? Our boys, are they doing well?" So that means, that shows that how much interest Swami is taking. We better rise up to Swami's expectations. And today you have wonderful work going on. They are doing a lot of work in collaboration with the hospitals. The image processing work, the kind of data science work that they are doing. It's very useful for the hospitals. They are doing a lot of work for fundamental research work, for prey-predator models. So much work is going on in the department. It's a department which has got a great value across the whole university setup. I think it's all Swami is doing. The way Swami has guided maths department taking up computer science, it's rarely seen. And it's still named as Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. And rarely you find in any university mathematics and computer science. And that is how Swami has guided, molded every mathematics teacher. We had mathematics teacher who are core, pure mathematicians. They turned themselves into computer science people and guided, did such wonderful work in each of the areas. Each one took up one area. And today, each person here is a combination of mathematics and computer science. I think that is something which is extraordinary. Nowhere else you'll find this.
I mean, that's what, as you reflect on, on one hand, Swami was guiding us spiritually. That was the real education. But at the same time, the worldly secular education, what is needed also, Swami gave us the best, and it continues.
100%. Very much it continues. I'll tell you the basics that I got here only when I had to leave and joined IT companies. The basis is what we learned from Swami. And today whatever we have done is all Swami's guidance. Everywhere we see his hand, unseen hand, everywhere. Every moment I have felt this. In fact, I have felt it more when I was outside than here. That is the kind of Swami's concern, Swami's love, Swami's presence that you can feel. Swami's, there's hardly any word that you can tell, about what he has done and what he means to all of us.
Absolutely. In fact, as more and more as you reflect on what he has given you and how you can give that back to society, I mean, it fills you with so much of humility as well as so much of energy that I really need to do this. I really need to do this.
The saying that Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamuchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishate. Every Swami is so full, Swami is infinite. You take out from that infinity anything, still Swami is infinite. That is what is Swami. There is unending stories of Swami. The Sai Bhagavatam is Purnam. Yes. Purnamidam Purnamadam Purnat Purnamadam. It is ever full, ever infinite. And that is what is Sai.
Absolutely. I mean, see, when you stepped out of the university and now you are someone who was a student, then the teacher, faculty member. After that, you also had the chance to go out and see, as you are saying, Bhagawan's glory. So, when you were outside, how you used to reflect on our students, on the university, on the lessons, or were there some moments, which were really, really powerful reminders of what he taught you and powerful reminders of his presence?
See, one fundamental thing which I realized is the difference between Swami's boys and outside is the kind of, one is work culture, other one is the attitude towards work. When we are given any work or take up some work, the amount of commitment that we are taught here, the amount of sincerity of purpose and delivery that we need to do, the timeliness of action that we need to perform, the discipline that needs to be there to do that, and the collaborative efforts that are required to achieve that task is something which is embedded in our way of life here. And that is what actually stands as a very strong support for you when you are delivering, and that makes you stand out. And often people have said, oh, you are Swami's boys, you are different, you are from Sai Baba. So, and that itself makes the whole difference in the way we perform, the way we deliver, the way we are able to make a impression or somebody on anywhere else, in any meeting or anywhere else, or any job, any project. That is the type of work, the benefit that comes from Swami, and that is only Swami who can do this. And all our students have actually excel only because of that. And once you start following these kind of commandments of Swami, these are simple basic things that if you start doing and do the work as if it's an offering to the Lord, results follow. And so many results come which are not unexpected.
You have experienced that in your...
So many. See, I am just a mathematics teacher, right? I went into computer science because of the demands of the department. When I went out, I was not a teacher. I have joined an IT company. And from there to rise from a small system analyst as from there to move to a senior vice president very quickly in a matter of 2-3 years is itself a journey. Is itself a miracle which only Swami can do. You lead the whole one verticals of business lines, and then move from there to a knowledge management space, and become somebody recognized in that space. And finally, Swami made you Chief Technology Officer of Tata Trust. I mean, somebody which I don't think I have all that saranjama they say to become there. But that's how Swami has made you there, and finally put you as a director of some companies. This is something which only Swami can do in that short span of time. I don't think anybody else can move you like that. It is only because I have a feeling it is he who is doing it. Karta, Kriya, Karma. We are only just I think not even playing. We are only seeing. Better to be a witness to watch ourselves doing this. This is sometimes I feel, did I ever be able to say this, right? How did I actually achieve this kind of stuff? So some of the projects, I feel that way. Some of the projects, almost like impossible projects, got achieved. I mean, some very strange things have happened.
Oh, I think when you obliterate yourself, then his energy flows, and then miracles happen through us.
Correct, very correct.
It leaves us stunned. I think, as you said, a lot of students also experience this, and this whole training happens in the hostel. When you look back, I mean, it happens naturally in a Sai student.
Naturally, very naturally. Hostel and mandir. Because you are expected to be on time for everything, right? You are expected to perform your task that is given to you, whatever, be it in the sports meet, be it as a lecturer, be it as sitting in the darshan, be it whatever role, be it in the village service, be it whatever is the role that is given to you, you have to just stick to your boundaries and very clearly do your work perfectly there. And that culture of discipline, the culture of performance, I don't think anywhere else you will get this. That complete personality you won't get. Because most often I have seen people are, only one side,
That holistic
personality is not there, and that makes a lot of difference.
And working with teams, as you said.
Teams and collaborative effort is something which we learn naturally here.
Yes.
Here, right from, you do in a hostel to a sports meet to a bhajan, everything is collaborative, right? You Vedam
all
chanting.
the self-reliance activities.
Everything is collaborative. You go to a function, you arrange a function when Swami is coming to hostel. Everything you do it as a family, as all of us together, and that comes naturally in our lifestyle. So to be able to adjust to different kinds of people, different kinds of propensities, different kinds of their own levels of maturity and efficiency is something which you learn, and that comes as once you learn that, you know how to quickly become a leader too, because you exactly know what are the strengths of each one. How do you handle these strengths as 5 fingers of a hand? How do you actually make sure that they are all able to do together work effectively to achieve a purpose? It's something which comes naturally to you, which doesn't come otherwise, right? So when we were a lecturer, we knew exactly, okay, this boy, we should use him in this. This boy, we should tell him this. This is what we have to do in drama. This boy, we can put him into this. You know exactly the competencies, the capacities of the people. Very quickly are able to judge, right? You're able to learn this. And that is something which I don't think anybody can teach you.
This whole man management.
Man management in the sense.
Yes.
How do you actually handle and make everybody feel respectable in that jobs and feel they are the most important for that role, right? For the project. That's very important, because in any project, that's the key of success. Everybody should own up that project. If everybody owns up any project, you are the most successful leader actually. Because if the team takes it, you are as good as your team, right? If your team owns it up, you can actually step out. The team will take care. So the idea of a leader is to make your team own up what you are visioning, right? Or what you are wanting to do. If you are able to get that into the way of your working, you got the trick of it, right?
Yes. Wow. I think the most beautiful thing is we saw Bhagawan as the divine manager, isn't
Absolutely.
it? When
Absolutely.
he made us own up.
You look at the water project, you look at hospital project, you look at any project that Swami has done. Swami made everybody else own it up, right? And Swami was, that is what a leader should do. Leader should be able to translate his vision, his project, his whatever he wants to do to everybody according to their capacities and competencies, but still make everybody feel important. That is the beauty of a leader. And that, I think, Swami is the perfect master. And we have learned from Swami that one, no doubt about it. And once we learn that art, and then and the basics of that part is to understand that God is in everybody. Everybody has come to that project for a purpose. It is ordained to be in that. All of us are ordained to be in that project for that moment of time, and everybody has to do their role. And everybody is aspect of God trying to do for that project is what you should. If you have that feeling, you'll never hurt anybody, you'll never belittle anybody, nor you give extra importance to somebody. If that is what, if you have, you will become a very powerful leader. This is what is my learning. If you are able to do this internalize this, that everything that comes, like Shirdi Baba used to say in Sathya Sai, even a dog won't come and sleep on your corridor if it's not ordained somewhere. Somewhere something is there.
Yes.
So nothing happens in this world.
Nothing is random.
Nothing is random. Everything is by design. And therefore, once you know that it is by design, everybody is doing his part, right? And he has to do that part. He have to do my part. Everybody has to do that role at that moment. It's like a drama, right?
Exactly.
So that's what we need to do. If you are able to understand this, you are a good leader. Very, very good leader you will be.
Yeah. It's really amazing. As you are narrating this, I'm going back to what you narrated in the beginning. When Swami gave you that role in that drama. In fact, when we think about it, Swami has given all of us different roles. Just like when Swami was physically there, he gave this different chances, be it in a Gram Seva, in a
Correct.
music competition, or in a drama, or, in a program. But wherever we are now, Swami has all given us different roles. And if the role has come to us, there is a purpose to it. And there is something that Swami is teaching us. As you spend so much time trying to understand why did Swami give me the role of a disciple, later on, what is the significance of him giving me the chance of enacting as Satyabhama, or later on, the Ashtavakra drama, that was again a very different role. So everything that he is giving, there is a divine design to it.
Very true.
I think if in our own lives we keep this in mind,
Very true.
and then we will not complain. Whatever is happening, that it is happening on purpose.
And there's a divine, and if you can understand that purpose, try to understand that purpose, give ourselves, keep ourselves open to receive that signals from him. Then I think, we are playing that role properly.
Yes.
That role has got its fulfillment.
Yes. And to be able, I think once we take that in that spirit, then we will see that everybody we are working with also have been given their roles. So there is nothing to complain. So it's a question of trying to see Swami in them, and you do your best, allow the other person to do their best.
That's it.
Rest he will take care.
So literally he'll be the leader. For any project, I always believe he is the leader. We are all playing our parts, right? Be it a project, be it in any job, be it anything, be it a role might come as a head of the department, a role might come as a director, but it's only a role there. But who is actually the right person? It's he who is making everybody do that part for some purpose. And if you are able to understand that purpose for that instance, at least everything is fine.
Yes. Then, and as we perform better, he will give us better roles till we become
one with him. We have to get out of this vasanas.
Yes.
One day we'll have to go do that, drop off this thing.
I think that fear that, I will lose the identity of being a wave. I think we should look forward to become the ocean.
Ocean. I mean, the joy of, imagine that infinite, uncountably infinite.
But that's infinite. We are very, very limited. We are thinking, I will lose this, but you don't know you're going to get
You don't need to be there. First of all, you don't need to be there. The very fact that you are there is an illusion actually, in some sense. Actually, you are not there. We are only superimposing ourselves that we are there actually. The Ashtavakra also Samhita says that you remove this illusion, you are not there actually. You are only one actually. So, but that is what is actually binding us. So, that constant journey, as I said, that step between the aircraft, and the Swami said, I have come with an aircraft. How many people will come into my aircraft when I take away? We pray that we enter that aircraft and not be on the steps all the time. We have gone into the steps. That much is certain. But we should get out of the steps very quickly.
That unity will lead us to divinity. And I think to achieve that unity is, as you mentioned, to remove the vasana, that purity, 100%. Unity and divinity. I think that is the journey. Thank you so much, sir, for all these lovely insights.
It's a great opportunity. Thank you so much. I don't think I deserve anything. It's whatever is there. It's all Swami's, and I believe that I want to be nothing. I don't want to be anything. I want to be nothing, and it's all Swami.
Thank you so much.